welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Yosha and I'm your go-to girl for all things real. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about hourly jobs versus salary jobs and work from home, and just telling you all my thoughts about them and the differences. If you're new here, I'm Yosha. I cover real talk, lifestyle, and reviews. I've been doing some work from home content lately and you all seem to like it. There's some here for you. You might as well stick around. Hit that subscribe button, thumbs up this video, let the algorithm know that I'm here and you like what you see, so that the people that really want to know about this as they're navigating their career can find this content. I have a bachelor's in communications and media studies. I graduated from college at 21 years old from Clayton State University, no debt. And I kind of worked my way into a role using my degree. I worked hourly jobs for years. In college, every job I had was hourly. Right after college, I had hourly job trying to take care of my son. And I ended up wanting to switch into a salaried role after I became a homeowner in 2018. I was working in a call center role. When I bought my home and I took time off voluntarily to move with my husband, my check looked like I worked at McDonald's. Okay. My husband was salaried at the time. His check was the exact same, even though he missed the same days I missed. And so that was an eye-opener for me. Like, when you clock out, they can ask you to do nothing because you off the clock, baby. But it was a deal breaker to see my check look like I worked in fast food when I didn't work in fast food anymore. Being salaried exposed me to the flexibility of being able to miss a day and not have that stress of how are you gonna make that time up? Are you gonna do overtime on another day? Are you gonna pick up an extra shift? Like, all of those worries went out the window. Then work from home became a thing. That's about pay. So when you are an hourly associate, your pay is not gonna be consistent no matter what. Pay is based on hours worked when you are hourly. When it's slow, they can choose to send you home and that affects your pay. You can lose hours and that affects your pay. You can be told, like, volunteer time off, you don't get paid, you don't get any trouble or points for not being there. But now instead of you working 40 hours, you work 30, and you're gonna feel that difference. What I loved about switching over to salaried is that I got paid the same no matter what. So if it was slow, hey, you just appreciated the fact that it was slow because you understand that there's gonna be some times when it's not slow and you're gonna have to work more hours that week. Usually with hourly roles, you get a certain amount of sick time, you get a certain amount of vacation time, and you have to use the sick time to cover any missed hours, vacation time to cover any missed hours. When you are salaried, your pay is not based on the hour per se, it's based on the year. So rather than you being told you make $20 an hour and you're gonna work 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week if you are part-time, they're gonna say, I am compensating you with $40,000 a year or $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year. And then you do the math and you divide that up by 52 weeks, 26 if you're getting paid, 26 to 28 if you get paid bi-weekly. That's how much you're gonna make every 2 weeks. Your check will be the same every 2 weeks or every week, depending on how you get paid. Some salaried people, like teachers, they get paid once a month, but every time you get paid, it's the same when you're on salary. With being hourly, overtime is available. That was one of the things that I missed so much when I became salaried. Overtime would be available during certain times of the year, and I would take advantage and I would get time and a half, and I love that. It also made me realize that when you move over to salaried, you get the same pay no matter what. There were times during the pandemic when I was working 12-hour days, and coming from working 9 to 10-hour days to working 12-hour days was a lot for me mentally. I worked really hard to find my way on to something else that was a little less stressful. I understand that sometimes that's the nature of the job. So my advice for you, if you want a salaried role, is to make sure you understand what the workload is going to entail of. There are some corporate jobs in communications, human resources, marketing, IT, all kinds of roles that you can be salaried and still work 40 to 45, maybe 50 hours a week, and it can be reasonable. You know what I mean? So don't feel like you have to sacrifice and put in 60 hours a week just to go on salaried, because I'm a big advocate of mental health And if that is too much for you, it's too much. And if you are a wife or a mother or both, or you just have a life outside of your job, you do not want to be in a position where you're always working and that's all you can do. You will be living to work, not working to live, and you will not have time for nothing else. Let's talk about assignments. This is just my experience. Every hourly role that I had a very set list of tasks that I was supposed to complete. And once I got the swing of it, it was the same thing every day, day in, day out. Hourly jobs, especially retail, fast food, have the highest turnover, right? So there will be times where you're understaffed and you're gonna have to pick up the slack. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to have a manager that's over you, a supervisor that's over you, a team lead, a shift lead, or something that's over you that is going to end up picking up more of that work because they're being compensated to do that and you're not. When you're salaried, especially if you are in a corporate environment, there are times where you are supposed to be doing one thing, but you might be thrown on some project. You might have to cover for somebody that's on maternity leave. You might have to cover for somebody that's on sick leave or whatever. And you end up building up these different skills along the way that you would have never thought you would have had when you initially applied for the job. It can get very gray the longer you stay in a role. The longer you stay in a role, the more that you are expected to know, the more that your team is probably gonna put on your plate. And when you move on to the next role, you likely are gonna have more responsibilities, especially if you start off in a role that's not like a leadership role and then you become a manager. The higher you go up, the more responsibilities you get. Then you might get to a point where you do have big projects and people do look to you, but you get to be a master of delegation and give other people stuff to do because now you the boss and you get to give the stuff to the work. Workload is pretty predictable in most situations when you're hourly, at least in my experience. Yes, you might have the lunch rush. You might have seasons of retail that are busier than others, especially during the holidays and things like that. We know that that's the crazy time of year. When you're salaried, it can be unpredictable. And that's kind of like what I was just saying about straightforward assignment versus, you might be doing this today, you might be doing that tomorrow. You might be starting a project and told to let it sit for 4 months after you worked on it for 3 months and here's something else you can do. It's not always gonna be clear how things are gonna be. Now, the longer you stay, the more, predictable things can get. But understand that with somebody else's business, they can always change the way things are done. So let's talk about PTO. PTO is paid time off. Paid time off in all my hourly roles. When I was off, I was 100% off. I had to clock in on time. I had to clock out on time. I had to go to lunch at a certain time. Everything was by the clock. When you are off work, when you're in an hourly role, most times you don't have a work phone. You probably don't have a laptop. If you work from home, they provided you a desktop that's for your house. In salaried environments, I noticed that more people check in on things when they are off. If you are on paid time off because you are on vacation, you may check out completely for those days or that week. But I do notice that people that are in management level roles and above tend to still check stuff when they're on vacation. They might feel that pressure to make sure that they are checking in so that they don't miss anything while they are gone. When I was hourly, I never, ever had that thought to check in on anything related to work when I was off because my time was my time. In a salaried environment, sick time is a little bit different. When I was in an hourly role, sick time would mean like, I'm calling out sick, my child is sick, or I'm sick, so I'll be back tomorrow. Being salaried, it would be, okay, well, keep your laptop with you and just sign in and do things as you can. When I was hourly, the jobs are so specific, like customer service jobs, for example. If you're in a call center, there might be 100 employees that can do what you do. So if you're sick, the workforce people can put a schedule up, somebody can grab it, and your work will be done for you. And then when you get back, you just hop in where you're at. When you're salaried, a lot of those roles are very specific to certain projects. Whether you work in IT, product management, people management, communications, HR, you have certain clients that you're assigned to. You have certain projects and deadlines you're assigned to. So if you're on that project and it's just you and 2 other people, you have certain weight that you have to pull. And sometimes those other people might fill in for you, but other times it'll be like the work that you didn't do will be waiting on you when you get back. When you get back, you're gonna be doing a little extra to get caught up. And so some people, when they do sick time off or personal time off that's not actual vacation now, they will continue to work while they are sick because they do not want to get behind. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to hear your experiences, whether you've been salaried, hourly, or both. Either type of job can work. It really just depends on your needs. Thank y'all so much for watching today's video. I will see y'all in my next one. Bye.